And that's the bottom line.
Two late second period goals by the Washington Capitals, and they lead the visiting Devils by one after 40 minutes of play. Welcome back. I'm Jeff Rimmer, and a busy night this is, the next to last night in regular season play in the NHL. Let's get you caught up on all the scores, including some Final Four activity tonight out on the West Coast in Seattle. First of all, this afternoon's game, the Boston Bruins over the Quebec Nordiques by 1, 5-4 the final score there. The Rangers have a new coach behind the bench. He is Phil Esposito, but not making much of a difference. Gene Ubriaco's Pittsburgh Penguins now leading that one by 2 goals. They are in the second period. Paul Coffey has his 30th of the year, also an assist, and it's Pittsburgh by 2. The Canadians have a goal by Stéphane Richer, his 25th of the season. They lead the Philadelphia Flyers. If the Canadians win tonight, they will sideline, or not sideline, but they will ensure that the Philadelphia Flyers finish in 4th place in the Patrick Division. What all that means is, of course, the Capitals and the Flyers will begin the Patrick Division semifinals here on Wednesday night. More on that in a moment. As far as other activity in the NHL, it's now a 3-3 tie, Buffalo and the Islanders. LaFontaine with his 43rd tonight for the New York club, and Andrechuk his 28th, also an assist for the Buffalo Sabres. Hartford ahead of Chicago 3-1, and St. Louis leading Toronto by a score of 1-0 in the first period. Hull with his 40th of the year. Now, should Chicago and Toronto both lose this one, they'll ultimately decide the 4th and final playoff spot in their division tomorrow night, and that'll be a special telecast here on Home Team Sports beginning at 8:30. That's Chicago or Eastern time. A later start at the stadium in Chicago, and that one should be a wild one. Again, we'll have that one for you right here on HTS tomorrow night. And as far as the Final Four action is concerned, a big upset, the Cinderella story continuing for P.J. Carlesimo and the Seton Hall club. They defeat the Duke Blue Devils by 17 points. It's Michigan ahead of Illinois now by 3 in the second semifinal. The champions to face off, or actually the finalists to go at it on Monday night at 9 o'clock in the Kingdome in Seattle. And as far as those Patrick Division playoffs are concerned, again, Wednesday and Thursday nights, the Capitals here at the Capitol Center. We'll also have for you on HTS, as a bonus, we've got the Orioles' second and third games of their first series of the year as they host the Boston Red Sox. HTS on your regular channel will have the baseball game, and you'll be dialing around, hopefully, around the TV dial to find us here with an exclusive coverage, of course, of the Washington Capitals playoff games. We'll have all the Caps home playoff games for you, and as an added bonus, both baseball and hockey playoff action for you on HTS Wednesday and Thursday evening. Stay tuned. We've got more of our second intermission ahead. The Washington Capitals leading the visiting Devils by 1.
I get paid to fly on TWA. I'm part of the quality control team. I report directly to the chairman on what's good and what needs improving. When he's happy, you're happy.
Today's TWA. Find out how good we really are. TWA kept something in mind when we made our business class seat one of the widest in the sky. People sometimes cross their legs. Today's TWA. Find out how good we really are.
Remember when every song on the radio was your favorite? Oldies Radio, WQSR. The music that made you feel good then is making you feel good all over again. Oldies Radio, WQSR. Finally, a station that plays all oldies. Oldies Radio, WQSR FM 105.7.
Remember, if you buy any Orioles season ticket plan for $19.89, you're guaranteed a choice of preferred seats in the new ballpark. But you better be quick and call 243-9800. Otherwise, who knows where you'll end up sitting.
Ode to Track Auto, a poem by Dwayne F. Snyder. S is for selection, everything from A to Z. C is for convenience, with many stores to serve your auto needs. E is for Track's fine employees, helpful with advice. L is for Track's long-term warranty. Gee, that's nice. P is for those low Track Auto prices. Put them all together, they spell scalp.
If you need it, Track's got it.
Scalp.
the words.
What's it gonna take to win the Stanley Cup? Guts, determination, tight checking, magnificence, spirited play, razzle-dazzle, greatness, clutch goaltending, a little bit of luck, and goals. Lots of them. April 5th, the NHL's best take their best shot at bringing the Stanley Cup home. And we'll take you all the way to the finals.
On the channel you cheer for, Home Team Sports.
The score at the end of 2 periods of play. The Washington Capitals 4 and the New Jersey Devils 3. Mike Fornes welcoming you back once again here on Home Team Sports along with Al Koch. And once again, power plays very much a factor of play in the second period, and the rough stuff created all of that.
Well, it has started to open up in both regards. The power play has been consistent on both sides. The good goals that they've gotten on the power play, except one key one at the very end by David Christian on that breakaway at even strength, although it was 4-on-4. So there was open ice, room to maneuver, room to use the good passing and the speed, the passing from Gustafson and the excellent speed and shooting of David Christian.
Let's take a look right now at our TWA shot chart for the Washington Capitals, and we can show you those 7 shots. 2 of them scores, and they both came from right in front of the New Jersey net.
Well, nothing got going until late. Now, the Capitals were trailing in this game until they get a 5-on-3, a penalty, and then a bench minor. Watch how everything starts from the faceoff. Here's Dino Ciccarelli. The faceoff will be won. He'll send it to Hatcher, who will send it right over to Langway, and watch the way everything starts to move over. Now, we'll start it, and you'll see how everything starts to rotate over to the left side, and watch how, again, the New Jersey defense starts to go up high. Stop it. Now, here you got a situation where it looks like Ciccarelli is going to be taken care of. But what happens is he starts to make the move over, and the defenseman comes out to start to challenge Langway. That allows Ciccarelli room to jump out of the way of the shot and be right there for this faceoff. Again, instead of dropping back and allowing the Capitals to shoot from that point, see how the defenseman goes up there? Now, all of a sudden, there's nobody there to take Dino Ciccarelli, and this guy is so dangerous in those situations. Sorella doesn't drop back, goes out and challenges. You'd much rather have Langway shoot from out there than have Ciccarelli loose for the rebound. But that little misplay again with the 3-man situation for New Jersey allows the Capitals to get another goal at 5-on-3. This one ties the game up. Ciccarelli's 44th. Then on a 4-on-4 situation, keep an eye on this man, David Christian, and the way he will start to take off ice. Here comes Kevin Hatcher, send it to Ben Gustafson, and Gustafson spies Christian, waits, and makes the perfect pass, and it actually goes through the legs of the defenseman Tom Curvers. Open ice, plenty of room to skate, and boom, Christian just uses his jets and beats Curvers. Now it's stride for stride, and there's where David Christian's speed starts to pack in. Now stop it here. Look what happens, though. Watch how David Christian, instead of just coming straight in, he starts to drift over a little bit, and that causes Sean Burke to move over, and when Burke moves over, it opens up the pads, and that's where David Christian goes. Instead of coming straight in, Christian makes the move towards the middle, now starts to go to that forehand. You see the way Burke reacts? He's expecting David Christian again, as Christian has all night, to really start maneuvering with that forehand. This time, Christian doesn't hold it as long. Once Burke makes that first move and opens up, that's when David Christian snaps that shot. Christian's 34th of the year, 2nd goal of the night.
The Devils, when they scored their goal, put them in the lead for the only time in the game thus far, and a lead which Washington later overtook. But here's their shot chart showing you 12 New Jersey shots and 2 goals.
Well, they really came out in the second period flying, did a much better job of getting the pressure on Pete Peters, and we'll show you the first goal, and it's basically a turnover situation as the Caps try and clear the puck out of the zone. 2 Washington players up here. Puck trying to get out, but it's kept in, and watch the way everything turns around, and then keep your eye on this man, John McLean. He starts to come out of the zone, but once he sees the turnover, watch the way he starts to get back into good scoring position. Just what you would expect out of a sniper. Now stop it here. What's happened? 2 Capitals can't get control of the puck. Here comes Sundstrom. Here comes Mark Schatz at the point, and you see the brakes have been put on, and watch the way McLean starts to drift back into position. Once Ben Gustafson makes that commitment, Kevin Hatcher is going to be the only man back in basically a 3-on-1. Now stop it. Now you see what happens. Hatcher's got to freeze himself here, and a very smart recognition by Johnson. Instead of dropping it here or taking the shot where he's got to contend with Hatcher, he knows the key man is McLean, and McLean is set up for the one-timer on an excellent play there at that point. Mark Johnson, here's what we talked about earlier, Mike. Mark Johnson has missed so many games with injuries, and it's been a big factor over the season on the less effective play for the New Jersey power play. McLean picks up number 42, but the real key to that is Mark Johnson, and when you didn't have him in the lineup, he plays a lot of point. Bruce Driver, who was one of their top point men last year in terms of that position, that's a big factor with the New Jersey power play.
Okay, the third period of the game is coming up next. We invite you to stay tuned right now for the Kodak People's Drugstore Flashback.
Kodak and People's Drugstores present Flashback. It's April 30th, and the Capitals and the New Jersey Devils are deadlocked 2-2 in the 7th game of the Patrick Division semifinals. The Caps beat the Flyers in game number 7 of the division finals and have already fended off elimination 4 times in the postseason. But on this night, a John McLean tip-in off a Craig Wolanin slap shot knocks the Caps out of the playoffs.
Back to Wolanin at the point. His drive. They score on the deflection.
If you're searching for great oldies on the radio, the search ends here.
Extra 104, now with 10 great oldies in a row.
Extra 104 is the only Washington radio station that gives you great oldies all the time. Great oldies from the 60s, back-to-back, non-stop. So, for your favorite oldies anytime, remember, set a button on your radio to 104.1 FM. Extra 104, great oldies all the time.
An 89 Dodge Omni is just $117 a month. An 89 Shadow is just $154 a month. An 89 Dakota pickup is just $140 a month. Where? At All-Star Dodge, where just about everybody's credit is good. $500 down, cash or trade, lets everybody drive an 89. All-Star Dodge, Maryland's #1 Dodge retail dealer. #1, All-Star Dodge. See them today. Tell them Brooks sent you.
What's the difference between a fresh biscuit and Hardee's biscuit made fresh from scratch? This should give you some idea.
Off there.
Right.
Hardee's Rise and Shine biscuits, made fresh from scratch because we're out to win you over.
Home Team Sports coverage of Washington Capitals hockey is brought to you by Capital Cadillac Company, home of the Capital Commitment, featuring free lifetime lubrication, oil and filter change with the purchase of your new Cadillac. Well, the Capitals lead the Devils 4-3 after 2 periods of play. A lot of rough stuff in the second period. We'll see how it evolves in the third period of action. Right now, let's check in downstairs with Jeff Rimmer.
Thanks, Mike. Everybody, let's get them caught up on the latest on the out-of-town scoreboard. Pittsburgh ahead of the Rangers by 2 in the second period. Philadelphia's tied up that game at the Forum, and Montreal 1-1. One more quick word on the New York Rangers. Phil Esposito, again proving don't ever underestimate the general manager of that New York Ranger Hockey Club. And the word is, Espo's going to stay on as coach of the hockey team, hire an assistant coach who will run the practices, much like that Edmonton Oilers situation is with John Muckler in there alongside Glenn Sather. Third period action ahead. Once again, Mike Bournes and Al Coca.
Bob Hall trying to get everybody out there. He'd had another earful from Jim Schoenfeld. Schoenfeld came out on the ice. And now, penalty box attendant Bill Brooks wants to get a couple of words in with Bob Hall on exactly how many people from Washington should be in there.
He probably wants to see Hall's license and registration.
Lou Franceschetti heads into the penalty box, and he'll serve the extra call on Dale Hunter. Hunter got a double minor at 1933, a charging and roughing call, so the Capitals needed to have a player serve that penalty. Still a minute 23 left to go in that call. Still 50 seconds left to go in the unsportsmanlike conduct call. And the New Jersey bench is being served by Brendan Shanahan. So again, we're provided with some 4-on-4 hockey right now. And once again, Brian Murray uses the group that was successful for the Capitals with Gustafson and Christian on the forward line.
Dave Christian behind the Washington net. Starts to center ice, passes it. Pass gets away from Gustafson. Now here comes the Devils
across the line, and a wrist shot goes wide of the net from Wolanin. Hatcher recovers and starts out. Hit right at center ice by Velishek. Mark Johnson with the puck after the steal. His slap shot stopped by Peters. Led aside for Kevin Hatcher. Throws it behind the net. Bob Rouse tips it off the corner boards to the point. Velishek keeps it in. Turns it around to Wolanin. Into the corner for Mark Johnson. Here's Gustafson. Out to Bob Rouse. And he flips it all the way down the ice. Devils on the power play now as Franceschetti is the only man left in the box serving the Hunter call. Randy Velishek up the center ice. Drives the puck into the Washington zone. Peters roadblocks behind the net. Gives to Langway. And it's cleared out to center. Tommy Albolin. Up to center ice and across the blue line. McLean goes to the corner and Langway steers it over on the other side. And Kleinendorf leads it ahead. Here's Franceschetti out of the box, cutting in with the puck. And he's stopped in the corner by Curvers. Franceschetti gets going again. Takes to the side of the net. Just a little bit too far for Ridley. Out comes Patrick Sundstrom. Throws it back into the Washington zone. Kleinendorf in the corner after it. Leads it outside the line to center ice. And here's a pass cut off at center. Sundstrom comes back. Left side, Perry Anderson. He drives it on net. Peters with a stick save. Now McLean throws it rink wide. Langway after it in the corner. And shoves it all the way down the ice. Portnoy takes a spill as the play comes back to the other end. And here's an icing call anyway, but it's against Washington.
It seemed like there were a lot of Philadelphia Flyers after Jeff Portnoy as well the other night. I think we talked maybe that Philadelphia thinks that Portnoy is one of the Capitals that can be taken off his game by some runs and some rough stuff, but it doesn't really seem to bother Jeff Portnoy. He was the guy who got the first Capital goal in that game. We'll see as the playoffs unwind, if it is Philadelphia the Capitals beat, how they try and handle Jeff Portnoy.
Out-of-town goaltending tonight, Chicago at Hartford, and Chevrier for the Blackhawks against Sidorkiewicz for the Whalers. Cloutier for Buffalo against Fitzpatrick for the Islanders at New York. Anderson held against the corner boards by Bob Rouse. Now Doug Wickenheiser steals and starts back to Bobby Gould. An offside is called. Philadelphia, Montreal, it's Hextall against Waugh. Van Beesbrook against Barrasso in the Ranger-Pittsburgh game. Back with more after this.
Everything in the store looks as if it's fresh picked out of the garden. I have a garden myself.
It's wet. It's just so natural. I love it.
If you haven't seen Safeway's produce department, you don't know how good produce can be.
I would give Safeway's produce department a 10. Yeah, I'd give it a 10.
Go take a look. Come see the difference at Safeway.
We've got 17:26 left to play in this third period. Caps on top of the Devils by 1 at 4-3. Wickenheiser out there to face off against Conacher.
Conacher charges in, tries to split the defense, and Rouse takes him out. Wickenheiser to the corner. Maley pushes it along. Out of that comes Lou Franceschetti on the left wing, but the puck had been knocked down by a high stick, and when Franceschetti got it, the whistle blew. Toronto at St. Louis tonight. Alan Bester against Greg Millen. And Boston at Quebec. Andy Moog against Bob Mason, playing for the Nordiques tonight. One other game has Vancouver at Los Angeles. They're not underway. Bob Mason back for the Nordiques. Kleinendorf has it in behind the Washington goal. Capitals lead the Devils 4-3. Penalty call coming. High sticking. Rouse and Anderson with the lumber up high.
I think he's just going to be...
sends them both or just Rouse?
I think he's just signaling Rouse.
You see it now. Anderson comes in, hard forechecking, and again, it wasn't as flagrant. Looked like he was about to get that elbow up, but ended up getting more shoulder than anything else, and Bob Rouse gets the stick up. 2:57 is the time of the call, and once again, New Jersey given a chance in this hockey game to tie it up with the extra man. Power play hockey, such a factor tonight, with 6 of the 7 goals scored with the extra man. You look at that New Jersey, or rather that New York Ranger-Pittsburgh game, the first 3 goals of that game, 2 by the Penguins, 1 by the Rangers, all those on the power play as well.
Ridley brings the faceoff back in Washington ice, and Langway winds up and slams it all the way down. Mark Johnson ahead for Curvers. At the line, the puck cleared away from Curvers and on back into Devils territory.
We've seen Mike Ridley get a little more penalty killing time tonight out there at center ice, killing this penalty, but Bengt Gustafson's going to be missing the first 2 playoff games, something Mike Ridley's going to have to do more of.
Mark Johnson to Curvers, into the skates of Sundstrom, and Ridley steals, and it's knocked down at the blue line. Curvers for the Devils, out to Johnson. Fires it in from center. Off the stick of Peters. Shanahan taken away by Ridley. Outside the line and shot back in by New Jersey. Hatcher clears it out. Hatcher ties up with Brown at the line. And Langway's back after it. "19 seconds to go in the penalty call to Bob Rouse. Capitals leading the Devils 4-3 with 15:15 to play here in the third. Hatcher into the corner. His stick held by Carlson. Bumped against the backboard. Now Tommy Albolin. Works it over to Broughton. Back to Carlson. Penalty expires. Rouse is on the ice. And the Devils' Albolin takes it back to center. Rouse in the corner. Hit by Broughton. Albolin charges in from the left point. They tie it up in the corner. Finally, the puck is frozen, and the whistle blows.
Well, it's time to give Cellular One a call. Now, for a limited time, you can lease a car phone for only $16.95 a month. And you get your first 100 minutes of calling time free. Call Cellular One today at 220-2000 in Washington and 1-800-CELL-1 in Baltimore.
Well, Jeff Rimmer sure had a big story to talk about tonight with Michel Bergeron being fired as the coach of the New York Rangers. You know the guy's going to end up with a job somewhere in the league, but where? And how about Pittsburgh this year? What would stop the Penguins, were they to make a move, from hiring Bergeron for the playoffs?
Probably a victory tonight.
That would be all they'd need, wouldn't it? Puck cleared out of the zone and sent all the way back inside Washington's end of the ring.
How would Le Petit Tigre play in Hollywood?
It's not a bad thought. Icing's the call. Wonder if he'd let Gretzky powder his stick in the dressing room.
He'd supply 18 different kinds of powder for him. He'd get out to Bloomingdale's and buy the powder for him if that's what he wanted.
Quite a difference, isn't it? 20 points off the pace from last year. And certainly no playoff action involved for New Jersey.
But it sounds like Jim Schoenfeld is going to get another full, clean shot to get it all together for this team next year. Steve Lamoriello, general manager of the Devils.
I guess, officially making a statement that he's back, saying he doesn't anticipate any changes. He should go with him. He's the guy who brought him in, and I think he's going to certainly get more than just 1 year. Although the way things go in the National Hockey League these days, everything gets just amazing. When you think about it, I mean, you've got Michel Berger, and you gave up a #1 draft choice, proved to be the 5th overall choice last year. Big, strong, tough right winger named Daniel Doré, who Quebec picked. You get just a little more than 2 years of service out of him? That's unbelievable.
Dino Cicerelli puts it off the boards to the point. Albaline fires, and Peters makes the save. Five skaters out there for both the Capitals and the Devils, but this one looked like a power play rush.
See how that thing dips? It's coming up a little higher, and then as it starts to get towards the net, starts to dip down like a sinker. And that's what made it a little more difficult for Pete Peters, and I think that's why he juggled just a second. And you have the split second to react. The thing looks like it's coming up there at crossbar level. Then it gets down there right about midway between the crossbar and the ice.
Dave Christian puts it off the boards out to center. Here's Sundstrom right in front. Anders, or Curvers rather, picking the corner of the net. Tom Curvers took a nice pass and just flipped that one by Peters on the stick side. This game is once again tied at 4.
Once again, the New Jersey Devils get the turnover, get it in the zone, and you see the commitment from Scott Kleinendorst. Everybody up ice, and Sundstrom makes a terrific play to get it to the wide-open Curvers.
New Jersey goal, number 5, Tom Curvers.
Here's that tail end. You see how it's out of the zone, but flipped in immediately, and Curvers very alertly makes that move in. He jumps in on the play and ties up the game at 4 with an even-strength goal.
For Curvers, that's his 16th goal of the year. Sundstrom and Shanahan assisting at 6-12. Broken stick lying to the side of the net. Here's Wolanin ahead for Brown. Out comes Mark Johnson. To Broughton. Dump back inside the Washington zone, but the play is called offside against New Jersey.
Changing up his line right now. Ridley, Pavanka, and Miller out there. They're trying to get this hard-working line out there. The matchup here is against Carlson, Maley, and Anderson. Maley and Anderson known for size and toughness in the corners. Ryan Murray trying to exploit that possible defensive weakness here with one of his top offensive lines out there.
Carlson against Ridley. Mike Ridley wins it. Back to Kleinendorst. Up the boards, Pavanka now comes out to Rouse. At the line, and Belichick takes it away. Ridley charges in. Mike Ridley tries to dig it free. Pavanka with the puck. Left side for Kleinendorst. His shot up high off the glass. Now Kelly Miller behind the net. Miller a wrist shot. And it goes! The Caps lead 5-4.
Well, here's this outworking, hustling play by Kelly Miller. This is not a good goal from Sean Burke. You rarely see him give up one like that, but Kelly Miller, the hard work does it. And you see how the digging, the forechecking pressure by this line, and the line change by Brian Murray pays dividends immediately. You want an emotional line. You want a line that can maybe take advantage of a little bit of a mismatch here. And you see Kelly Miller doing the work. He's got a man on him. Belichick with him. But Belichick can't keep Kelly Miller from shooting that puck on to Burke right down in the skates. And quickly, the Capitals answer back to regain the 5-4 lead.
Now we've got something at center ice going, and Sorella decides to come to the aid of Broughton and jumps in, and he's got a hold of Francischetti. I thought Francischetti was going to be involved in a fight on the Devils bench a moment before that. Now they're right in front of the Washington bench. And Francischetti and Sorella get going, and Sorella uncorks a couple of right hands as they fall to the ice.
And now Danico and Sheehy doing a little dancing right here. Sheehy just back on the ice after serving a fighting major and a roughing minor in the misconduct.
Here they go. Sheehy grabs Danico and starts to throw a few more. And now they tie up right in front of the bench, and the linesmen first work on getting Sorella and Francischetti into the boxes. And now Jerry Pateman and Mark Vines will have to go in and try and work on the next pair. Devils are all craning their necks looking for a view of this one over in front of the Washington bench. The Capitals have ringside seats. This is Sheehy's second fight of the game. And he's got an opening here on Danico. Sheehy getting some right hands in there. And the linesman waiting for a chance to get in. They're pretty well tired out, but Sheehy's still throwing punches. Working in close on Danico. Ooh, he got him a good shot there, and that does it. The linesman won't watch any more of it. And now Sheehy threatens the Devils bench.
Well, there was going to be a penalty, I think, to the Devils to begin with. Now Sheehy's going to be shown the gate along with Danico. So Hall is going to put more misconducts on the table for them both.
Well, they started their fight after the other fight had already been going, so that's an automatic ejection.
Well, it looked like Bob Hall was going to make a penalty call in New Jersey anyway, and Broughton was tied up along with Sorella with Francischetti. Then Francischetti decked Sorella, or decked Broughton, and that's how it all began. Let's go downstairs now and check in with Jeff Rimmer.
Thanks, Al. Let's get everybody caught up to date here while we have a break and they sort out these penalties. Boston over Quebec, a final by 1. Rangers now well in front, or well behind, the Pittsburgh Penguins, despite the coaching change and Phil Esposito on the bench. Montreal and Philadelphia are tied. It's Buffalo ahead of the Islanders by 1. Hartford leading Chicago by 2. Toronto and St. Louis are tied. That's the second period score. Seton Hall, they beat the Duke Blue Devils. The big upset there. Michigan now by 2 over Illinois. Let's go back upstairs.
All right, thanks, Jeff. We're still waiting for the calls from Bob Hall. Discussing everything as linesman. We know that Sheehy and Danico should be gone for the rest of regulation at least. Probably fighting majors and 10-minute misconduct, so with 12:28 left to go.
A couple of good young linesmen in this game here, Al. Jerry Pateman and Mark Vines, they do a terrific job. Wouldn't be surprised to see these guys stick around with some real longevity over the years.
5 minutes for high sticking, automatic game misconduct. And number 2 of New Jersey. 2 of New Jersey.
You got it.
Oh, you got it already? He gets minor penalty, instigator. Minor instigator, 5 minutes for fighting.
Everything washes out except the 5-minute major.
5-minute power play.
Well, Bob Hall showing no hesitation to throw plenty of people out of the game. And this looks like it will be a Washington Capital 5-minute power play, because that penalty we had talked about that originally was coming to New Jersey, it proves out to be a 5-minute major for high sticking to Neil Broughton, or to Aaron Broughton, rather. And Broughton is the guy who got Franceschetti. That's what got Franceschetti upset. He roughed up Broughton and then fought Sorella. Sorella gets an instigator of fighting, a game misconduct for being a third man in. Game misconducts to Sheehy and Danico, along with 5-minute fighting majors. So all the minors work each other out. Just the 5-minute major up for New Jersey.
Number 2, Joe Sorella. 2 minutes for instigating. 5 minutes for fighting. Game misconduct. Number 3, Ken Danico. 5 minutes fighting and a game misconduct. Number 10, Aaron Broughton. 5 minutes high sticking and a game misconduct. Washington, number 25, Lou Franceschetti, gets 2 minutes for roughing and 5 minutes for fighting. Number 15, Neil Sheehy, gets 5 minutes for fighting and a game misconduct. Time of the penalties, 7:32.
Well, Aaron Broughton becomes the 7th New Jersey player tossed from a game for a 5-minute major stick penalty.
Number 3, Ken Danico, 5 minutes fighting, game misconduct.
Although it has taken until the third period to have things reach this much of a boiling point in this game, and admittedly a little different circumstances, but wouldn't you have loved, Al, to see these type of penalties given out early in the game in Philadelphia?
Sure. There should have been many more misconducts on both sides. Only one was called in the entire game.
Here's Dino Cicerelli in the corner. Washington with a 5-minute power play now. Ridley brings it back to Kelly Miller. Back to Ridley. To the point for Hatcher. Ridley. Now to Miller. Over to Mike Ridley. Back to the point. Gustafson turns it around to Cicerelli. Hatcher to Gustafson. Back to Hatcher. Slap shot. Kick save. Rebound sent right across the goal mouth. Here's Ridley to pick it up. Ridley into the corner. Now back to Kelly Miller. To Ridley behind the net. Passes it over. Miller a shot right on. Saved by Burke. Cicerelli looks for the rebound, but it's covered to the side of the net there by Craig Wolanin. And we have 3 minutes and 50 seconds to go in the Washington Capitals' major power play penalty.
Very disciplined performance by the New Jersey Devils. They stayed very tight in their box. It rotated out to a little bit of a diamond when the Capitals would just keep one point man high towards the middle. Cicerelli knocking out Wolanin, but Wolanin sitting on the puck. Now the Capitals make wholesale changes up in the forward lines. Portnoy, Hunter, and Christian out there to replace Miller, Ridley, and Cicerelli. Gustafson and Hatcher stay back there on the points.
Here's Curvers, and he clears it all the way down the ice back into the Washington zone. Hatcher jams up with Brown at the side of the net, and now Gustafson takes over. Lead pass to Jeff Portnoy. Fires it back inside New Jersey ice. Hunter jams up in the corner. Christian in there to help move it along. Now Patrick Sundstrom works it free, but Hatcher has it at the point. Over to Gustafson. Back to Kevin Hatcher. Power play hockey for Washington. Hatcher winds a slap shot and a save by Burke, and he covers up. And now Hunter gets challenged right in front of the net, and he gave a shot in there to the face, much like the one that was delivered to Pavonka earlier. This time Albeline on the receiving end from Hunter.
David Haley, number 8, serving the 5-minute major.
Kevin Hatcher elects to just drive it from the point. He's got a bit of a screen to work with for just a second. Abilene jousting with Hunter. And there's the response. A stick up from Hunter, a punch from Abilene. And now both head to the penalty box.
David Maley is serving the penalty on Broughton's behalf, the major call. And now Dale Hunter takes a seat at 9:22 of the third period.
Number 26, Tommy Allen. New Jersey has 2 minutes for roughing. Washington, number 32, Dale Hunter, 2 minutes for high sticking. The time of the calls is 9:22.
So Albeline joins it.
New Jersey penalty is on number 26.
Doesn't change anything on the power play situation. Still 3:10 to go with Maley sitting it out.
22.
Back to the point. Here's Bengt Gustafson for Washington. Now over to Michael Pavanka. Pass way up high, and Courtnall had to duck to avoid being hit. Hatcher back in his own zone. Chases Johnson outside the line to center ice, and here's Wolanin. Conacher down the left wing. Stolen by Gustafson. Lead pass for Christian. Christian going for the hat trick, drops it off. Courtnall back to Christian behind the goal. He's held up in the corner. Courtnall hit hard. Now Hatcher at the point. Over to Gustafson. Bounces it into the corner. Courtnall back to chase it. At the side of the goal, Pavanka just misses, getting it to Hatcher. Thrown behind the net. Pavanka over after it. Pavanka in the corner, brings it out to Hatcher, to the point man Gustafson. Over to Kevin Hatcher. Now Jeff Courtnall with a slap shot wide of the net. And the puck cleared over the glass and into the seats.
New Jersey bench. See the gaps there, as there are plenty of players in the penalty box. Number of players in the dressing room right now. Not the same way over the Capitals bench as well, though. There's a little more room to maneuver.
Everybody's in the penalty box. They're all back in the dressing room.
Now Langway and Rouse come out there to work the points. Cicerelli, Ridley, and Miller back out there for the Capitals in the forward line. They still have 1:53 to go in this major. The Devils have done a nice job of penalty killing. I showed you with that telestrator in the first two periods a couple of mistakes that New Jersey made by being maybe a little overly aggressive getting out of position, but so far they've been nicely disciplined here. Of course, the Capitals keep things around the perimeter.
Here's Rouse back at the right point. Leads it over to Langway. To Cicerelli. Back to Miller behind the net. Throws it out front of the goal. Cleared to the point. Langway has it. To Rouse. To Ridley. Back to Bob Rouse. Miller chasing it behind the goal. Cicerelli has it taken away, and out of the zone comes Muller on the attack. 1:20 left in the power play. Muller tries to center. Curvers tips it wide. Langway starts out again on the rush. Capitals leading 5-4 over the Devils with 8:37 to play here in the third period. Kelly Miller pushes it back into the corner. Belichick jams up on the play. Ridley in front. It's denied as Burke puts the stick down to make the stop. Carlson throws a hit on Ridley. Mike Ridley skates free, brings it over. Here's a shot right on goal. And Carlson comes back with a rebound. Devils changing up. Lead pass to Muller, clears it all the way down the ice. Rod Langway out to Kevin Hatcher. 30 seconds to go in the power play. Time running out on it here as Wolanin brings it ahead. A shorthanded break for Conacher. Pat Conacher fires, and it's deflected up off the glass. Doug Brown back to center ice. Now on into the double zone. Belichick chasing. Wickenheiser chasing him and pushes it along for Leach in behind the goal. Wickenheiser moves it along. Gets it out to Bob Rouse. Bouncing puck. Directed right on net. But Burke makes the save. At the line, Pabonka steals and flips it back to the blue line. And now we get a whistle from Bob Hall, who stops play as Leach goes down. Tripping penalty coming against David Maley. There's a break in the action with a score. The Capitals 5 and the Devils 4.
This year, if you really want to get money back, listen to Henry Block.
Go to Subaru.
Up to $1,500 cash back or 4.9 APR financing.
Of all the Subarus registered since 1978, 92% are still on the road, which could mean this four-wheel drive Subaru will still be good on a hill when other cars are over it.
Well, the coaching change not making much of a difference tonight for the New York Rangers. They trail the Penguins in Pittsburgh by 3. Philadelphia hanging tough in Montreal. They're tied 1-1. Let's go back upstairs.
I wonder if that would not be a distraction for the Rangers with all that hoopla.
You mean they're so used to craziness and confusion? It's just another day at the office?
Well, at least it's Bergeron's type of craziness and confusion, and without it, might have thrown them off their game.
Well, they've been struggling anyway. I mean, they have really been in a nosedive. I think the whole thing is, and again, it surprises me that Bergeron is fired not only just at the timing, but when you look at the situation. If he had a fully healthy team and they were struggling, maybe it's time to make the move, but they've been playing for months without a healthy defense. At various times, they've had Patrick, Leach out of the lineup. Rochefort hasn't played almost the entire year. Shaw's been out of the lineup quite a bit. I mean, they've been decimated by injuries on defense, and I'm a little surprised at the move simply because of that. Not because the team is struggling, but because why they've been struggling.
Randy Velishek behind the goal. Shoots it off the back of Dale Hunter. It comes right out to Craig Wolanin. Here's Wolanin to center ice. Gets across the blue line. He's hit by Scott Stevens. Mark Johnson triggers a shot. But Pete Peters comes up with a glove save. That's only New Jersey's second shot on goal during this period. And Pete grabbed that one with a mitt and held on.
Well, it's also a pretty good job of back-checking done by Jeff Courtnall. See how he gets his stick wrapped around in there and doesn't allow Johnson to get full wood on it. Although still it's a flipping dangerous puck, and Pete Peters has to be sharp. 31-25 advantage in shots. It was 23-20 coming into the period for the Washington Capitals. But again, this is a New Jersey team that's playing shorthanded and come up with a nice opportunity. The Capitals just struggle lately with the extra man. They were very successful in the early part of the game, scoring 3 power play goals. First 3 goals were power play.
Here's Gustafson behind the net for Scott Stevens. Stevens brings it ahead to center ice, and Kelly Miller gets across the line. Flips it into the corner. Curvers is there after it. Miller jammed up on the play. The puck comes loose to Ridley. Mike Ridley over to Cicerelli. Now back to the point for Gustafson. Mike Ridley. Rink wide pass. Miller, a shot, and it goes! There is Kelly Miller's 18th of the season. And the Capitals go in front 6-4.
As we told you, Brian Murray using Kelly Miller a little more on the power play tonight and to good advantage. And here's why. A guy who's fearless, hustling down and showing a nice touch, getting it between the pads of Sean Burke. Mike Ridley trying to make a centering pass. Now watch how it gets kind of deflected off here, but goes right to Kelly Miller. Miller streaking in there, and the key really, for so many successful partners, you have to have movement. You got to get people moving around. And there's Kelly Miller to stop it right there and jam it home. Everything was kind of stagnating. All of a sudden, Miller making that cut. Everything starts to open up. The defense tries to collapse on Cicerelli, and there's Miller with a lot of room down in that slot.
The power play at 13:42. With that goal, number
Delphine assisting on the goal by Kelly Miller. At 13:42, it's Miller's 18th of the year, second of the night, and once again the Caps hit on the power play.
Well, if you're looking for a big screen TV, there is no better name than Pioneer, and there's no better place to see Pioneer than at Alco TV and Appliances. In Alexandria, call 703-780-5180, or in Fredericksburg, call 703-373-1797. Pioneer projection TVs from Alco TV and Appliances. The picture doesn't get any better than this.
Washington's lead at 6-4 over the Devils with 6 minutes to play in the third period. These same two teams will go at it again tomorrow night at the Meadowlands. Bobby Gould checked on the play. The puck centered for Wickenheiser, but grabbed, and Maley moves it out. Up to Anderson. Harry Anderson across the line. Bob Rouse jams up in the corner. Brings it back to Scott Stevens. Now Wickenheiser throws a hit on Maley, and Stevens sends it over to Bob Rouse. Up the left wing side. Here's Pavanka. Dumping it back into the Jersey zone. Anderson circles the net. Checked by Gould. Pavanka reaches in for it, but now Maley starts to center. He stood up inside the line by Hatcher. Stevens gets it out of there. Up to Bob Gould. Capitals changing up the line. The pass to Hunter. Taken out by Sundstrom. And back comes Wolanin. Dumps it back into the Washington zone. Steve Leach drops it off for Hatcher. Hatcher steers it up the boards for Leach. Again, the Devils put it in Washington ice. Langway to the corner. Hunters to Langway. Back to Hatcher. Guides it ahead for Steve Leach. Hatcher turns it out of the zone, and Albaline sends it right back into the Washington zone. Langway whips it to center ice for Hunter. Here's the 3-on-2. On the right wing, Steve Leach's slap shot is kicked out of there by Burke in the net. Now played to center ice, and Rouse again goes back after it. Looks for Leach, now hits Courtnall, and Courtnall dumps it all the way down. Now we got a line change jam up as Hunter's going to start something right at the Devil bench. Play continues. The line change continues. Now finally the whistle does blow, but the teams got tangled up on the line change, and Hunter had something going right at the New Jersey bench, and I think it was Shanahan who was involved, and the players really did a pretty good job of keeping them apart, or that could have got going.
Well, great job by Jerry Bateman. Look at all this rush hour traffic here. Look at Bateman. Get the people on the bench, get everything done. His partner Mark Vines down there to make the offsides call. You're right, an impressive duo of young linesmen. Been some good ones coming in the league over the last few years.
Each of these fellows has been around now for several seasons, and they're part of the young veterans that are in the league. Here's Cicerelli on the right wing. Verbeek moves it ahead to center ice. Christian to Cicerelli. Back to Christian. It'll be called offside if the Capitals keep the Devils from coming out of the zone. And here comes Muller to center ice. The offside is waved off. Left side pass gets away from Verbeek into the corner. Bob Rouse is back after it. Gustafson tries to hold up Mailer. Maley to Verbeek right in front. Scooped up by Peters. 3:04 to go in the third period.
Just a reminder on how the playoffs will work here on Home Team Sports. The Capitals open up on Wednesday and Thursday. Now, the regular station you watch on your cable operation, Home Team Sports On, will be carrying the Red Sox-Oriole game. But all the cable operators are making available an additional channel so we can televise the Capitals against either the Philadelphia Flyers or the New York Rangers. All the games are at 7:30 on April 5th and 6th, Wednesday and Thursday at the time. You may have to consult your local cable operator or do a little dialing around of your own to catch the Capitals in the first 2 playoff games in the Patrick Division semifinals. But we'll have it for you on HTS.
Michael Pavanka out to Mike Ridley. Leads it ahead to Kelly Miller. Miller has 2 goals, looking for number 3, goes in across the line, gives to Pavanka. Into the corner, back to Miller. Miller turns it around and shoots, but just misses wide. Kelly Miller getting very close to a 20-goal season this year. He's got 18 goals now with the 2 that he's picked up tonight. Here's a wrist shot on goal and a save made by Burke. Out come the Devils on the attack with 2.5 to go in the 3rd period. Kleinendorf's back in his own end. Taken over on the play by Verbeek. He centers and a shot on net. Peters makes the stop. Now Curver's a blast and Ridley blocks that. The puck cleared back to center ice. Curvers to the line, but Hatcher takes over. Kevin Hatcher up the right wing for Lou Francischetti. Held up by Albaline. Perry Anderson, rink wide for McLean. Now to Mark Johnson. Slows down at the blue line, and that allows Wickenheiser a chance to take it away, and he does. Back to the Washington zone. Langway pins McLean, and Wickenheiser clears to the point, but not out. Shanahan's alone. Peters stops him. Centering pass, and McLean can't get a shot off. Here comes Bobby Gould. A 2-on-1. In across the line with Francischetti. A deke, and he lost the puck to Velishek. Velishek moves it into the corner. Mark Johnson has it behind the net. Leads it up the boards, and Wickenheiser slaps it back in the corner. 1:20 to go in the 3rd period. Here's a tie-up behind the net. And Mark Johnson steps into Lou Francischetti and gives him a shove, and Louis just going to give him a little bear hug. Say, how's that gold medal doing, Mark? Let's stay friends.
1:19 left to go in this game, and let's get some more scoring updates from Jeff Rimmer.
Thanks, Al. You know, we've talked all night long about the coaching change for the New York Rangers. Well, this could be yet another loss for the Rangers. Meantime, the Philadelphia Flyers are now ahead of the Canadiens in Montreal by a score of 2-1. If the Flyers win tonight, then win again tomorrow night on home ice over the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Rangers lose to the Islanders, guess what? The Flyers won't be playing the Capitals in the first round of the playoffs. Let's go back upstairs.
Isn't that unbelievable?
It's fascinating, isn't it?
And the interesting thing, too, right now, the Rangers with 37 victories. If Philadelphia wins, they'll be tied in victories. And right now, coming into tonight's game, the Rangers had 304 goals that they had scored. Philadelphia 300. And goals scored is another of the tie-breaking equations.
We're in the final minute of play in the period. Carlson in the corner. Throws it rink wide, and now here's Steve Leach. Cleared the length of the ice. Pete Peters taking his time, drops it off. 35 seconds to go in the 3rd period. Leach ahead for Courtnall. Doug Brown checks him. Routes. Wrist shot. Peters stops that as Hatcher ties up Mailer.
Well, just to go over things, in the event of a tie in standing points, these steps determine which team shall finish in a higher position. A, most wins. B, most points earned in the season series between the 2 tied teams in the Patrick Division, where the clubs play 7 games versus each other. Only the first 3 home games and the first 3 road games count. And then C, differential in goals scored and goals allowed over a full 80-game schedule.
That's why St. Louis would have needed a miracle to have caught Detroit in their series.
So in the situation for that C tiebreaker, the Rangers have given up 269 coming in. Philadelphia only 277, so that really would go the way of Philadelphia.
Here's Miller chasing it down as the clock winds down the final seconds. Miller looking for his third goal if he can get to the puck. Can't center it, and it's blocked. And there's the end of the game. So the Washington Capitals snap a 2-game losing string and get back on the winning side of things here by beating the New Jersey Devils by a score of 6-4. Shots on goal in the third period. Washington with 15 and a game total. Make it a 12 shots in the third period now for Washington. Game total 35 for the Capitals. And the Devils had 9 shots in period 3. So that gives them 29 for the night. The Capitals with 41 wins, 28 losses, and 10 ties, and 92 points atop the Patrick Division. No playoffs for the New Jersey Devils. 26 wins, 41 losses, and 12 ties. They stay at 64 points in 5th place in the Patrick Division. A couple players almost had hat tricks tonight. Kelly Miller and Dave Christian, each with 2 goals in this game.
Number 1 star, Kelly Miller.
And Kelly Miller named the number 1 star of this contest.
And as our number 1 star,
he's standing by downstairs right now with Jeff Rimmer. Jeff?
Thanks, Mike. Kelly Miller, number 1 star of the hockey game, justly due. Kelly, a lot more ice time tonight, even on the power play.
Yeah, it's kind of nice getting out on the power play. Usually I have to really work for my goals, and tonight I got a power play goal. It's kind of nice to get. Mike Ridley made a real nice play, but we're just happy to get 2 points out of here.
Always the New Jersey Devils play you guys tough.
Yeah, they do. They've had our number in the past, and I thought for a while there was kind of a seesaw battle. They like a lot of penalties. They seem to play well. They got a good power play, and our penalty killing let down a couple times early, but we got some power play goals hung in there and took control of the game when it counted.
When you play these Devils back-to-back, is this a good way to prepare for the playoffs?
Oh, definitely. It's good games. Just want to keep from getting injured. You know, sometimes with New Jersey it gets a little rough, but tonight it wasn't too bad. A few fights here and there, but overall it's a pretty clean game.
Well, you've done it all tonight. We're going to ask you now to be a play-by-play guy and describe those 2 goals you scored tonight as you get a look at the monitor there. Maybe you can call them for us.
Well, the first one, I just came around the net and they cut me off, and I just kind of spun around and shot it at the net through the guy's legs, and I was fortunate enough for the puck to go in. The second one was just a nice play by Mike Ridley. I think actually he was trying to feed it through to Scott Stevens. I didn't see Scott there, though, and intercepted it and was fortunate enough to put it by Burke.
Great effort, Kelly. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Kelly Miller, number 1 star of the hockey game. Here's the number 2 star of the game. An outstanding game tonight for Dave Christian. Dave, another big offensive night for you.
Oh, yeah, I had some chances, and, you know, Gus made a beautiful pass on the second one, so it's nice to see him go in.
Okay, you say that you had some nice chances, but I think you made your own chances tonight. 2 great individual efforts.
Well, I think I was skating. I was able to kind of come from behind on both plays. The first one, Jeff hit me coming between the defensemen, and they got a stick on me, but I was able to control the puck and get it around Burke. It wasn't very hard, but, you know, it wasn't going to go through the twine, but it got to the back of the net. So the second one, Gus hit me, you know, just over our blue line, and I was able to get a step on the defenseman. So you like those.
All right, we're going to now make you, not unlike Kelly Miller, the play-by-play guy. Take a look at the monitor here and describe him for us.
Well, the first one is Jeff Courtnall hits me right at the blue line, and as I'm coming in, I get hooked, and Burke comes out to poke check, and I'm able to control the puck around him and slide it to the net.
Waited to the last possible moment to get that one.
Yeah, it wasn't very hard, but it was just hard enough to get into the net. Their defense got twisted up, I think, with the goaltender and wasn't able to play it.
How about this pass between the legs?
The second one, Gus made a pass right on my stick, and the defenseman probably would have hit a skate, but he picked it up to take a stride, and the puck was able to get through to me, and it just came across and shot it. It was on the ice, and it went through the 5-hole.
Another big win for the club. You play these New Jersey Devils back-to-back. Still some animosity left from last year?
Well, I think certainly we're still smart when we think about the playoffs last year. There's no doubt that they played very well and beat us in the 7th game. So we can't take nothing away from them. They played well last year, but I think it's always nice in that situation to beat them.
David, the Capitals talk in terms of 340 goal scorers, and I think Dave Christian can certainly put the puck in the net, and your offensive prowess has got to be a big help to this hockey club in the playoffs.
Well, hopefully in the playoffs we'll get some scoring chances and get the puck in the net. I think we're as well balanced scoring-wise as we've ever been. I think that can only benefit us in the playoffs. We've got 3 lines that are going to score goals, and you know, hopefully in the playoffs with the 4th line put together, they come up and score a big goal. If the guys that are scoring goals can give us a chance to win, you know, somewhere along the line they'll come up with a winning goal.
Great effort tonight. Thanks for the visit.
Thank you.
Dave Christian of the Washington Capitals, 2 goals tonight, number 2 star, and that pretty well wraps it up here from Ice Level. More of our post-game show, so stay tuned for that. Washington Capitals winning by 2 to end a 2-game losing streak.